So let's look at one more. Let's look at the difference between gender and math in 121, which is college level algebra. Cross tabulations. My independent variable is going to be gender. My dependent variable is going to be recode math 121, which is college algebra. Okay, really quickly you can say there's about a 15% difference between males and females when it comes to not being successful in math 121. There's about a 20% difference between males and females in terms of being successful in math 121. But that's interesting, and you might want to come up with strategies for how to improve the success rate, maybe, of males in math 121, wanting them to be as successful as females. But in terms of whether or not this is a strong relationship, again, we're looking for the rule of thumb of a difference between 30% among the values of the independent variable. Okay, so that's looking at the relationship between two variables that are measured categorically. Let's look at the relationship between two variables that are measured interval ratio or scale. So first, let's look at our data file. Let's look at variable view. Let's pick two variables that are measured as a scale. Let's just go with the top up here. Let's go with reading and ACT reading and ACT English score. And what we're going to do is look at the correlation between those two variables. Are they directly correlated? Are they inversely correlated? You might hypothesize that those two variables are positively and directly correlated just by what you know about those tests. ACT placement test. Or not placement, but academic aptitude test. All right, so to run a correlation, you go up under Analyze, and we're moving beyond our descriptive statistics option down to correlate. And the only one we're going to be using in this class is bivariate, a bivariate correlation, which means two variables. So let's select that, bivariate. And we said we were going to look at ACT reading, we're selecting our variables, and ACT English. There are several different types of correlations that we can run. We've been learning about the Pearson's R, and that's default. That's the toggle default. Here's some other options that we're going to learn about later when we talk about inferential statistics, Kendall's, Talby, and Spearman. But right now we're just going to run Pearson's R, and that is for two variables that are measured at the interval ratio level. Let's see what options gives us for now. Okay, when we select options, this is the box that we get, and let's ask for means and standard deviations. Let's ask for some descriptive statistics on these two variables. Continue. And we're not testing for significance right now. We're not testing a hypothesis right now necessarily. So the default on this is two-tailed. That's fine. We'll talk about what that means later when we talk about hypothesis testing. We're going to leave that and select OK. All right, here comes the output. All right, so I asked it for means and standard deviations and descriptive statistics, and you can see that the ACT reading mean, it was a 22.2, and the ACT English mean is a 21.5. It gives a standard deviation, and how many cases we have. Here is the correlation matrix, and it shows you the Pearson's correlation. Obviously, ACT read to ACT read is a perfect correlation because it's the same variable. So you actually want to take it a step farther and look at, in this cell, ACT read with ACT English. Here's the Pearson correlation, 0.646. And here's how many cases had both of those scores. 716 out of our whole group. So that Pearson correlation of R, that number, 0.646, if you recall from our lecture or from the other videos, a Pearson correlation of a 0.6, it's positive, so indeed they are positively and directly related. It's 0.6, which is in between moderate and strong. Moderate is about at the 0.5 level, and a strong relation is about 0.7 and above. Recall that Pearson's correlation ranges from -1 to 1. So that's how you read the output. We've run a correlation. That's how you read the output in SPSS, and that's how you interpret that correlation. So we have learned that the relationship between ACT reading and ACT English is positively correlated, and it's moderately strong relationship. Let's check out one more. Correlate, bivariate. We're going to reset, get rid of those variables that are in there, and pick two other variables. Let's look at ACT Math and Compass Math. I'm not really expecting to have very many cases because, well, let's find out. Let's find out. Let's run OK. We're OK with the defaults. Actually, let's select options, means and standard deviations, continue, and OK. Let's see what we get. Oh, wow. We had 183 people that had both Compass Math scores and ACT Math scores. You can see with the descriptive statistics, the means on those two tests, standard deviation, and how many scores I have for each. Now, the mean and the standard deviation, those, you really can't say too much here about the differences in the standard deviation because the scales for ACT Math and Compass Math are very, very different. I think the highest you can go on ACT is about a 32. And the highest you can go on Compass is 100. So it doesn't make much sense to interpret the difference between the means just by looking at descriptive statistics on these two variables. But if we take a look at correlation, are they correlated? That's what we can look at when we want to look at the relationship between the two. And indeed, if you look at the Pearson correlation, and this is just a matrix, you can see across the top the two variables and down the rows the two variables. So these two cells are the same and these two cells. You can see that we get a Pearson correlation of 0.23, which is positive. So there's a positive correlation between the two. But at a 0.23, it's very, very weak. Very weak relationship. And that's how you would interpret that Pearson correlation. Well, that's going to do it for how to run descriptive statistics in SPSS. When you close out of these windows, it's going to ask you if you want to save. we didn't make any changes to this data file. So it'll ask me when I shut this down if I'm sure that I want to do that, I think. Yep, I do want to do that. And we'll be moving on.